live broadcast tonight with my good friend and mentor, peak performance coach, Michael Burnoff. And the gist for tonight is we're going to help you guys ignite. And what does it mean to ignite? So basically, Michael is going to be sharing some content to help get you into action, to help clear out all the things that are blocking you, and most importantly, create what we call unstoppable momentum. And so what I want to do is before we dive in, I want to just get an understanding. We've got tons of people on the line from all over the world, so just go to the chat box. We want to make this pretty interactive while we have him here tonight. He's a super, super busy guy. He's not easy to get, for an hour tonight. We actually might have him for about an hour and 15, maybe 90 minutes if you just plan for that. So we want to get your questions answered too. So go over to the chat box and just start off by letting us know where you're calling in from, because we've got people from all over. I'm curious who is here from the furthest spot. And so just type in, what's up, and just type in what state you're in or what country you're in or wherever. All right, so sweet. We got a whole bunch of people here. We've got, we got a whole bunch of Canadians here. We got Vancouver. We've got Toronto. We've got Alabama. Is that Molly saying it's snowing out there? We've got Colorado. We've got a lot of people in California. We've got Texas, Manhattan Beach, North Carolina. We've got a New Zealander. What's up? What's up, Steve Munford? What's going on? And all right, Michigan, a lot of San Diego peeps. So welcome, guys. Welcome, welcome. So before I kick things off, I also want to just do a couple housekeeping items. So again, we're definitely going to be using the chat feature quite a bit. So as things come up, feel free to type them in there. We will do some Q&A at the end. That's going to be the best time to try, get some of your questions answered. And I really, really want to encourage you guys to just focus in on this live call here tonight, because this could start and completely change how you're looking at your days. This could create that little first step of progress that gets you going and gets you not only into action, but into momentum. So really just be present with us. Turn off Facebook, close out the other browsers. Take your phone, put it on silent, flip it upside down so that you don't have any distractions, and really just be here with us, because you're investing the time in myself and in Michael Burnoff here tonight. So be very present and just really focus in. And what I want to do too is I want to share a little bit about how and why this all came together. So many of you guys that are our Firestarter clients, you've got the opportunity to meet Michael at our in-person event in San Diego. We had an amazing, amazing session with him. We had a full day, and he created some absolutely incredible transformations right there in the room with us there. And we had such great responses that our Firestarters were saying things like, we've got to bring him back. We want to have more, of Michael Burnoff. So we actually had him on in one of our coaching calls, and then now we wanted to share him with everybody. So for you guys that are in our network, on our email list, this is just really going to be a great, treat for you guys. And the background story is I'm just going to share kind of how I met Michael Burnoff, and actually, this is a big, he's a big reason why my team member Ryan Dewey, who many of you guys know, is actually not only just one of my best friends now, but also as a part of our company with Life on Fire, and it has a lot to do with Michael Burnoff. So the quick story on my side is, as many of you guys know, I had always been the entrepreneur, just trying and trying and trying and trying, chasing the dream and chasing it and chasing it. And I had gotten stuck many different times, and I finally broke through. And I got to the point where I sold a business. That was my lifelong dream. I sold a business, right? So here I go selling the business, and life is supposed to be good. I then ended up breaking up with my ex-girlfriend of a 7-year relationship, moving across the country to San Diego. I've got more money than I know what to do with. I finally have the beachfront place. Life is supposed to be good, right? Well, what was crazy is that when I landed in San Diego, it was actually the emptiest point of my entire life. And it was so crazy, because what was supposed to be some of the happiest days of my life, it was really the emptiest. And it was because a lot of, what I thought was going to make me happy really wasn't. And so I hit this point where I started searching, and I started thinking about how can I have more fulfillment, more happiness in my life, and really love what I do for work and just enjoy life, right? So I end up at my friend Matt Trainer's party, and he's got this whole, charity thing going on. They've got a silent auction, and one of the prizes was going to one of Michael Burnoff's event called HIT, and it's a $6,000 event. And I looked at it, and I didn't know what it was, and then all of a sudden Matt Trainer stood up, and he shared a very, very emotional and vulnerable. He shared some, vulnerability, and he shared a story about, his relationships and about how he was in a really tough spot in his life, in a dark place, and he had started going to Michael Burnoff. And after just a couple, after his first course, that he did virtually, and then he attended some of his events, he ended up completely breaking through to the other side and was really living an amazing life. And his relationship with his wife was just phenomenal. And he shared this whole felt story. And I looked at it and said, man, that's what I need, right? So I put down a donation on the silent auction, and I win, right? So it was just about another month after that, I end up at Michael's in-person event, and I didn't really know what to expect. And I walked in, and a few things happened. First and foremost, I met a bunch of amazing people. I met people that are now part of the Firestarter program. I met people that I'm really good friends with. I actually roomed and stayed in the same hotel room with Ryan Dewey, who's now one of my best buds, and he's also my right-hand man here with Life on Fire. And what was crazy is, so not only was the networking phenomenal, but what happened to me at that event completely and radically changed my entire life. And I really want to drive this home, because making money is one thing, but as we all know, making money is not going to always bring us happiness, right? It's a necessary part. We've got to have our financial needs met. We've got to make money so that we can give back and enjoy our lives. But I was after, and I've always been after, a deeper sense of fulfillment, a deeper sense of happiness, and want to live that life on fire, right? So at this event, I learned quite a few different tactics. If any of you guys have seen that video where I share the moment on fire, that's where one of the exercises that Michael taught me. And the outcome of the event is that it completely got me to shift my focus on what I was working on. I realized things that, before I can find and attract love, I needed to love myself. I realized that, that it's not about setting these crazy, wacky goals. Instead, it's about I needed to work on confidence. I needed to work on communication. And Michael is a master with NLP, neuro-linguistic programming. He's a master hypnotist. And in my opinion, he is literally the tops in the industry. I like to compare him to, I often say things like, he's like Tony Robbins, but better. And so going to the event, a lot of things happened. I completely changed how I think about life, how I think about business. And what was crazy is that started me off. That was my little step of progress. And then from there, I started continuing to take action on the things that he taught me. I stayed plugged in. I did this thing called Call to Action that was absolutely amazing. I learned how to focus. I learned how to get more done in less time. And I started moving towards that life on fire. And then what's crazy is fast forward about 6 months from then, and I actually walked away from the business that was driving me crazy. And I decided to just have the courage to go out and to do what I love. And that's how Life on Fire was actually born. And since then, I've just been on this journey with Michael. I've plugged into every single event that he has. I've done every part of his coaching and training. And it's radically changed my life. It's changed my happiness, my fulfillment, my business, my relationships. And for that, I literally cannot thank him enough. I'm so grateful. And for you guys, we have him here tonight because he is one of my secret weapons in business and in life. And I'm so happy and honored to have him here today. And I just really want you guys to focus and plug in on what he has to share with you guys. And without further ado, my friend and mentor, Mr. Michael Burnoff. What's going on, brother?
Doing good, Nick. Can you hear me loud and clear?
I can. How goes it?
Doing great, man. I hear that introduction, and it's one of those things. I'm like, who's he talking about? And it's kind of interesting. If I would have looked back 12, 15 years ago, you were talking about the person I wanted to be when I grew up, and I guess I've grown up a little bit. So, Nick, that's awesome, and it's an honor to work with you. And those of you, a little kudos to Nick, just, a couple of huge things. It's an honor to have people say good things about you. But when amazing people say great things about you, it feels even better. But it's not even feels great. Watching somebody, transcend and kind of change the way business coaching is done, marketing is done, and really making it about serving other people, helping other people, and catching that glimpse of, what's possible in this world. That's really what, turns me on and what gets me going each and every day. I share with my staff on a daily basis, and I'll share with you guys right now. My purpose and vision and mission in this whole world is, teaching human beings how to have a relationship and relate to themselves in a way that gives them the best quality of life. So to kind of get you what it is, not kind of, but it's actually to get you what it is that you want in your life and make it something that happens now within your lifetime, not a dream, not a facade, nothing to, just, be one day maybe. and start making it a reality. And what's interesting is the story you hear from Nick, it sounds like it's like 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 years in the making, but I'll tell you, we're talking about a year and a half. And within a year and a half to 2 years tops, I think it'll be 2 years this June, somebody has the ability to create that much shift in their life. I'm going to tell you, every one of you have the chance and the ability to start that process here this evening. So, Nick, if you're ready for me to rock and roll, I'm ready to really dig in deep here tonight. And, keep those lines ready, because who knows when we're going to make this interactive. You ready for me to rock and roll?
Dude, I am so ready. Fired up, man.
Oh. Perfect. So grab a notepad and paper. I know a lot of you are listening online right now and you're going to near your chat boxes and stuff. And as Nick said, housekeeping wise, I just encourage you to just really be present with what I share with you here. And the biggest reason I'm like really excited here tonight is I remember the first time that I came across information like this, because I was one of those people that in some areas of my life I had some natural gifts. In other areas of my life I had zero gifts. Like there was a lack of confidence, there was a misunderstanding, and certain areas I would push really hard. And I realized that one day my life turned around when somebody had shared with me some of the stuff that I'm going to share with you here today, and I realized I was making my life way too difficult. Some things that should have been way easier than they were, I was making them way too hard. And I had dreams, I had goals, I had things that I wanted, like so many of you had, but I could not figure out how to make them a reality. So I will tell you first and foremost tonight, will not solve every one of your challenges. As you're listening to this right now, let's get very clear. My expectations are very, very clear. Tonight is not going to be the do-all, end-all. It's going to be an opportunity to have a conversation. It's going to be the opportunity for me to share some ideas with you that supposedly, for tens of thousands of people that have shared with me that, wow, this changed my life, and I say supposedly as a joke, they've said to me that sometimes you share something, Mike, and it's like a seed that goes in my head. And as I go through my day and it rains here and there, and as I go through my day and I ate this here and there, it kind of adds to the ability for that seed to grow, and it germinates into something that really turns into what it is that you want in your life. So I know for a fact that over the last couple of years I've had this major challenge going on, and this has to do with you guys here on this call right now. And I'll tell you what that challenge is. Then I'm going to get into the point of the call and what this call is all about. And when I heard the introduction tonight, I'm thinking that's great, Nick's explaining me, but the real challenge that I've had in the last couple of years has been a major identity crisis that's been going on in my life. And I'll tell you about this right now for a very personal reason. My identity crisis had nothing to do with, I just got married in the last 3 years, had nothing to do with that I have a new baby, has nothing to do that we have a teenager in the house, has nothing to do with moving 3 times. It had nothing to do with any of that. Our business growing, doubling, tripling, quadrupling. It had everything to do with my identity crisis, because for years I would explain to people what I do is that I'm a motivational speaker. I'd explain to people that I'm a coach. And the challenge that I found is that motivation is something that I don't believe in. So for years I would tell people I'm a motivational speaker, but I don't believe in motivation. And I had a challenge, and one day I finally got to the point where I really can't even explain what I do, because when I use the word motivation, you understand it. But I don't believe in the word motivation, because my belief on motivation is when you work right, you don't need to worry about motivation because you're doing what you're supposed to be doing in your life. So a lot of you may be going through a little bit of identity shift right now, whether you're just transforming into a business, or you're looking to make a business work, or you want to take it to the next level. I have found that there are 2 types of people that listen to information like this. And you can figure out which category you're in. I'm not going to come to your house and, decipher this, but you can figure out which category you're in. And I'm going to ask you to really challenge you to think of which category you're really in, not which one you like to be in. The first category is you're doing really well, and you just can't figure out how to get to the next level. You're looking at your life, and you're doing well. You want things to be better. You want things to possibly be easier. You'd love more residual income online. You'd love more your info product to work better. You'd like to have a secondary internet marketing business going. You're a doctor. You're a chiropractor. You have an info product. You're a coach. You have something that's doing well, but better's around the corner, and you can't figure out how to turn the corner. And if you keep on doing what you're doing great, but you're not getting where you want to go. The second group of people still have a dream. And you have a dream of something you want in your life. And the question you're asking yourself is, why am I not doing what it is I need to do? Why am I stuck? Why is it, though it feels like my feet are in quicksand, and why does it feel like there's cement blocks on my feet, even though I have so much passion about what I want, I'm so good at what I do, people tell me this is what I should be doing for a living, where's the money? Where's the body? Where's the relationship? Where's the income? I'm fun, I'm sexy, I'm a nice person, but why is it not working? I'm lovable, but why can't I make my relationship work? I know all the workouts, I can repeat the routine, I know how to use my juicer, why am I not using it on a regular basis? So it's one of two things I've realized, anybody looking for more. It's one of two things. You're either stuck taking that next step, or you just can't figure out what that next step is. You kind of know what it is, but you're not getting there. So this training tonight is here to give you some very common sense answers to giving you some solutions that, whether you like them or not, are the reality of the situation. And what these three things that I want to share with you are tonight, and they're three very simple things, is really what stops most people from getting started. What stops you when you know it's a great idea to get in better shape? Why don't you do it? What makes you eat something that you really don't want to eat? What makes you go through your whole day, and when you get through the whole day, you kept yourself busy, but you didn't do what you needed to do? Why do you keep on finding things to overwhelm you instead of getting the life you really want? We can't answer all of that tonight, but you're going to learn tonight what stops you and pretty much everybody you know from getting what you want out of your life. The second thing I'm going to share with you is really how to overcome that. And on top of that, one magic word that if you can start dedicating your time, your business, your life to this, not only your economics are going to change, the way you feel about you, the way you feel about your business, everything is going to radically shift for you. The second thing that I'm going to cover with you guys today is how to start creating some consistency in your life. I have realized that most people, it comes down to the way we set our plans, the way we set our expectations for our life, and I've realized most people are pretty good for a while. Consistency has been the missing link for most business people. I have clients that I know, Nick, if he were to, tell you their names, I have people that when I first started with them, they couldn't make much money. Now they make $1 million in a month. They don't make anything for 18 months. They got me to teach them how to make it work, but they haven't figured out consistency yet. So we've been working on that. How do we, instead of having a big hit, how do you get a good hit all the time? How do you become consistent where procrastination starts alleviating itself? And I'm going to teach you that there's a biological principle that's inside all of us, that if you can't get a hold of this thing, if you can't work on this, and tonight I'm going to reveal it to you, but if you can't learn to work with it correctly, the next days, weeks, and months ahead, it's always going to be working backwards for you. I'm also going to share with you today why goal setting doesn't work for about 97 to 99% of the population. Why it is that the date it is right now, and you know what day everybody set their New Year's resolutions. Why is it that most people have already given up? Why is it that most of you are already thinking, okay, we're going to get there soon? Why is it that momentum wears off? And how to really start setting goals to actually get them once and for all. And the last thing that I'm going to cover is really where you go from here. How do you take information like this that you hear and start really making it part of your life? How do you make you really have a plan to work on that guarantees success? And I use the word guarantee on purpose because it's interesting. After reading Richard Branson's second book, the second one that I've read, I don't know how many he has, and reading books by Donald Trump, and reading books by Steve Wynn, and reading books by pretty much every massively successful person that I've read about, I've realized they have some common traits, common things, but it really comes down to how they set the plan for their life, whether they realize it or not. And I will tell you, about 90% of those guys that are massively successful, they couldn't teach you how they did it. They know the actions they took, but they couldn't explain to you why it worked for them. So I'm going to give you the why it worked for them tonight and how to start getting it to work for you. So I'm giving myself a huge burden of what to cover here tonight. But I'm going to tell you, by the time this call is done, by the time this whole training is done, not only are you going to have a better understanding of why you do what you do, not only are you going to have a better understanding of really, how to increase your confidence, your communication with other people, you're going to have actionable items that you can do today. And I'm also going to tell you, a lot of what I share with you is going to be massive common sense. But the challenge with this world is common sense is not necessarily common practice. You and I both know that if you ran or walked, or like yesterday I did a 5K on my treadmill last night, I know I felt great afterwards. I felt phenomenal. And I'm going to do one again tonight, but just because I want to doesn't mean I'm going to do it. I know it feels better. Common sense says I run on that treadmill tonight, I am going to feel amazing tomorrow, maybe a little tired tonight, I'll get the sweat out, I'll feel better. Common sense says that if every day I take $50 and I just automatically push it out of my checking account, instantaneously put it in a savings account, forget about it, then eventually after enough time find a savings account that pays a little better or find a mutual fund, that's a smart thing to do, to take $1 or $2 a day. We all know these things. But the same common sense tells you it's a bad idea to go to Starbucks. It's amazing. At my office, I have, these 3 girls at the front desk. They're really nice people. Okay, they work in the building we have. You walk to the front, I say hi, and it's amazing. They make $10, $12 an hour, and they have a Starbucks, 2, 3 a day. The thing is, common sense says if you're worried about money, don't spend $15 a day on coffee. But common sense isn't necessarily common practice. So a lot of what I share with you is going to sound very basic. But here's my question. Are you doing it? Are you doing it on a regular basis? And if you're not doing it on a regular basis, are you ready to get started? So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to give you guys the goods. I'm going to give you a lot of information, and I'm going to tell you that I'm going to speak in a very, very unique way today. I've realized that one of the biggest reasons we don't achieve a lot of the things we want in our life is things are screwed up before we get started. What I mean by that is a lot of you have this inclination, this idea, this concept in your brain that you got your paper ready and you're going to write down some answers. You're going to write down some stuff, you're going to get that one nugget, and you're going to walk away, write it down, and hope you're going to do something with it. The answer tonight is not learning something. The answer tonight is not finding that one quote that excites you. The answer tonight is not that missing piece in your business. The answer today, the answer right now, is finding out how to learn this information so it becomes part of you. So it doesn't become something you think about. It becomes who you are as a person. It becomes what you do on a regular basis. See, Nick is almost like the movie The Matrix. I teach him something, he jams it in his brain, and he learns it instantly. He takes down his defenses, he listens to what I say, he recommends it, I recommend it, and what happens is instantaneously, it isn't something that he heard, it's who he's become. The reason why this is ultra important, and I want you guys to remember this right now, I was speaking at the Hard Rock in Las Vegas a few years back, and I'll give you the very quick version of the story. There's thousands of people in the room, very fun. I'm on the same stage as a lot of my heroes, like Aerosmith and Guns N' Roses and Metallica and all these, Billy Joel. Everybody, a very interesting group there, has played on, and they played at that Hard Rock before. And I'm on stage in front of thousands of people, and I asked a very interesting question. I said, if we got to write a book right now, and it's going to be a bestseller. I got Oprah's giving me the money, and you guys know if Oprah gets a hold of your product, you know you're going to do well. So let's just say, hypothetically speaking, Oprah called me and said, look, I need a book, and here's what the book's going to be on. Getting in better shape, making a ton more money, building your business, making your life better, making your career better. And the third thing it's going to be about is relationships, the 3 things everybody wants. And I said this to the group of people. I said, look, guys, I got $1 million from Oprah. She wants to promote the book, and she's giving us front money. Anybody who's got answers to these questions, tell me the answer, and you can be in the book. I said, how many of you know what it takes to have better relationships, make more money, and be in better shape? Hands flew up in the air. I said, what would you recommend? He said, to get in better shape, I'd drive by the drive-thru. I said, yes, you drive by it, don't drive in, right? You'd move your body more. I said, exactly. I go, what about relationships? They say, listen. People say, guys say, you learn how to talk, communicate, do this, that. I'm like, great. I said, what about business? They said, pick up the phone, call more people, take risks, make decisions. I said, awesome. I said, how many of you guys more have things? And their hands are flying up. They all know what they need to do. Then I said, put your hands down. I said, how many of you do what you know on a regular basis? And about 3 hands out of about 2,000 went up. And I realized that most people know what they need to do, but they have a challenge getting themselves to do what it is that they know. I ask you to question yourself right now. Do you know what you need to do and just have a challenge getting yourself to do what you know? Or do you just see yourself as a doer? And some of you are doers already. You're a doer. Everything I'm sharing with you doesn't mean anything's wrong with you. It just means, my question is, are you where you want to be in your life right now? That's the people I work with. People that say, I want more than I currently have, they're the ones that hear the information correctly. So the reason I'm sharing you this is that everything comes down to the way that we learn information, the way that we take it in. You got to remember back in school, every bit of learning that you had in school was based on logic. Calculus was based on math, okay, and logic and numbers. Algebra, math, numbers, logic. English, logic, here's what to do, or whatever language you speak and whatever country you live in. You had history, which was logic or the explanation of how they explain things. But there were very few classes, if any at all, in the area of emotions. Most of us have a very limited sense of emotions. What excites us, other than these are the type of movies we like. You can't really explain why you like those kind of movies, but you know that drama or comedy is what moves you. You have trouble explaining why you need more money other than it would be great to have and it would make me more comfortable and I could buy all kinds of really cool stuff. And emotionally, as a society, as a world, the majority of us are very weak in that area, and that's the same reason we pick up the food we shouldn't eat. That's the same reason we don't make the call we need to make, because there's nothing wrong with the phone why you don't call that customer. There's nothing wrong with the internet why you don't buy that thing. It has nothing to do with that. What it all comes down to is, how do you get yourself to actually take the action? See, I started learning for a long time, and I realized years ago that most of us have what I call about a 5 to 7 year old education on ourselves. Our personal education, how well you know yourself. I got a little baby girl, 2 years old. Girl knows herself really well. What she likes, what she doesn't like. If she doesn't want to talk to me or she doesn't like that food, it winds up on the floor. You've heard this and seen this before, whether you've been a kid or seen a kid, right? And what's amazing is little kids know themselves. And somewhere, all of us, about 5 or 7 years old, you went from making your whole life about what you like, what you don't like, what moves you, what excites you, to being all about a social education. Here's how you're supposed to be. Here's how you're supposed to act. Here's who your friends are supposed to be. Here's what's appropriate. Here's what's not appropriate. And your whole life starts to become about what you're supposed to do instead of giving you the life that you want. Saddest thing in the world is all of us know what it is that we want with our lives. We know even how to get it, most of us, but your life doesn't work because it's not achieving itself for you. You're not getting that thing that you want on a regular basis. And the reason you're not getting that thing that you want on a regular basis is you know what it is. You just can't figure out how to get yourself to do it. So what I want to teach you guys, and I want to share with you guys right now, is how to make that a reality. But the first thing is we got to take a major look. And the major look we have to look at is really where and when these situations occurred. We got to figure out, how did we get in the situation that we're in right now, that we know what it is we want. You know what it is you need to do, but why are you blocked? What's stopping you? Why do you eat that chocolate cake that I shared in that video that you guys I'm sure saw before you got on here? Why do you eat the chocolate cake when you know it's going to make you fat? Well, the biggest reason you eat the chocolate cake is you tell yourself you don't want it. You tell yourself you don't want it. You say, I don't want that cake. I don't want that cake. I'm not going to eat it because it's going to make me fat. I'm going to be in bad shape. I know I don't want to do it. And you tell yourself you're not going to do it for a week. And for 1 week long, you change your actions. 1 week, you change your actions. But in your brain, you still want it because your perceptions still say that cake tastes good. So you change your actions, but you don't change your perceptions. Could you imagine what it would feel like and be like if you became a person that would never consider eating what you shouldn't eat ever again? Could you imagine what it would feel like and be like if you became a person that would never consider making under $1 million a year again? Could you imagine what it would be like to be a person that wouldn't accept an average relationship? Well, Nick's in the process doing it himself, and what's amazing about this is what I want for each and every one of you, to become a person that would never consider having the life you don't want again. But you got to realize where you're at. And for the majority of us, we're in a box. And the reason we're in a box is the stance, and I talked about this, when I was out in Life on Fire, when I was out at the event I was out in the event in San Diego, and I talked a little bit about people's stance, who you've decided you are. And I remember my story, and I'll give you this very, very fast version because I know it'll relate to a lot of you guys. And I'm going to get into, really what stops us and how to get where we want to go. My story is so much like so many of yours. And I grew up what I believe was one of the greatest challenges of the 21st century. I grew up with something that has been a major atrocity that people don't meet. It's a silent killer of success. It's the thing that if you were to take a look at it in economics books and you were able to take a look at this in history, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 years from now, they're going to say that was a mistake. And what started off as a really good idea, after the Great Depression, they had this really great idea. And the idea was, we got to get people comfortable again. We got to get people safe. So let's reinvent a world where people can feel comfortable. They don't have to worry about medical as much. They'll have a little extra money. They can go on a vacation. They can feel safe. And they derived this really great idea. See, I didn't grow up as one of those people that was poor. I didn't. I'm telling you, I wish I was. I mean, I'd be a much better, cooler speaker. Like, I was poor, and I got out of the rat race, and I changed my life, and I got ahead, and I finally did it, and blah, blah, blah. That'd be a cool story to tell you guys. Or even be cooler to tell you I was Donald Trump's kid, I was rich, and I kept the money, and everyone wanted it from me, and I succeeded. Look how great I am. Be maybe fun also. But I grew up with the world's biggest challenge. And the biggest challenge that I grew up with was that I grew up what's called middle class. And it comes in three varieties. Nick and I have talked about this before. There's the upper, middle, and the lower. And I grew up right there dead center in the middle class. Now I'm going to ask you to think about this. How did you grow up? Were you rich? Were you poor? Were you middle class? And most people, somewhere around lower to middle class, maybe a little upper middle class. We weren't usually rich, or we'd be maybe doing something else right now, or maybe we grew up poor. Because when you're poor, you're motivated to get out of there or stay where you're at. When you're rich, you're motivated to keep the money. When you're middle class, the reason it's such a problem is it's called complacency. And the reason it's complacency is you got to remember this. Middle class means you have enough. And I'm going to tell each and every one of you, if you have enough, the motivation is nil. It's not there. See, most of you, you really don't need to make it. You'd be okay if you didn't. It would be nice to have, but you don't need it. You have at least a pair of shoes, you got a few pairs of jeans, you got a dress, you have a car, gets you from point A to point Z. You're able to do what you need to do. You don't need the life you want. You want it. It's in your soul to have it, but you haven't figured it out yet. So for me, my challenge was I grew up middle class, and pretty much everybody I knew did about the same thing. And it didn't hit me until later in life when I got a chance to look back at my story and my life, and I got a chance to really recognize my life. I realized that the challenge started in lots of areas. Because I remember being a kid, and these words are either going to ring excitement for you or frustration or fear. But I remember in 7 years old, the presidential physical fitness test came to town. I don't think they do it anymore. And I remember that I had to do my first pull-ups. I never did one in my life. And what's interesting is when you have to do something you've never done before, you don't know whether you're good at it or not. My last name is Bernoff, B-E-R-N-O-F-F, and they call me. It's like Anderson, Bernoff, boom, go do a pull-up. See, I thought a pull-up was with the arms. Any of you that are athletes understand that a pull-up is your core, it's your back, it's your abdominal muscles, your shoulders. And I'm sitting there going to do a pull-up, and I couldn't do one. Tall, lanky kid, couldn't do a pull-up. And embarrassment kicked in. Everybody's staring at me, and they had a little rule. If you can't do a pull-up, hang there for 10 seconds. I get off the pull-up bar, head down, total lack of confidence. And another one of my buddies, his name's Courtney, he's like a third of my size, little short little guy named Courtney, tough kid, gets up there and he does like 40 pull-ups. He does 40, I do none. And in that moment, I decided something very interesting about my life. He can, I can't. And I put myself in a box. I can't do it. I put myself in a box like, I guess people like us don't go on fancy vacations. I put myself in a box of, people don't have cars like that. Because I would go to the mall, and we'd go to the nice mall a couple towns over, Short Hills, New Jersey, and I'd go to the real nice mall, and I'd see these Mercedes and BMWs, and I'd say to my mom, like, where did they get cars like this? And my mom would say, they're very nice. They're not for people like us. And she was very right. They were not for people like us. People like us didn't have things like that. So my first hypnotist, my first salesperson, the first person to convince me to make a stance in my life that I'm average was my mom. She didn't mean it. It's just that's how she grew up. So she convinced me that I'm average, and I bought into it, and I did a pretty good job at average. I built a social life. I had friends, but I wanted more my whole life. Inside of me was something that I know is inside all of you. There was a little flame that every once in a while you could see it very clearly. And I love the whole life on fire thing because literally I relate to this like the metaphor. There is a flame inside of me that burns freaking bright, saying I can go for more, I can achieve more. I would shovel driveways and make an extra $100 and say, wow, I could make 500. I would get excited as a kid. I would look at things and I want to be great at them. And I'd get fired up for a week and it would wear off. And some of us, that light is really bright. And you know the light, the one that says you're capable of more, you're worth doing more, it's worth making it happen, you just got to figure out how to do it. And I get pumped up about this type of thing, but I can't figure out a way to make it work. I can't figure out how to make it a reality. I can't figure out what I got to do to make it work, and how do I sustain it? How do I get it to be consistent? So I finally go away to college. And when I went away, luck of fate had it, I got a weird job parking cars. And I'm going to tell you the very fast version of this. I was parking fancy people's cars. It was all about money when you don't have any. See, when you don't have it, you worry about money. When you finally have money, you don't worry about money. Your question is, how do I make more and how do I get to the next level? It's not about, I'm worried about it. I didn't have any. So I was parking very fancy people's cars. And one day I walked up to one of the valets and I said, how do you get, a car like this? And he didn't have one. And I would drive Bentleys and Ferraris and different types of things. And I'd go home in my little car. And he said something to me that changed my life that day. He said, why don't you ask someone that has one how they got it? I said, you think they'd tell me? He said, doesn't hurt to ask. So next guy that pulled up in an Aston Martin, this guy Maurice, I said, how do you get a car like this? He said, do you really want to know or are you just asking? I said, I really want to know. He said, sit down, I'll talk to you about it. And he got me started in business, got me started with a direct sales company back in the day, predecessor to internet marketing and direct marketing, and very exciting, got me started, my first dreams and everything. And I really got excited about going for more. I could see it, the light at the end of the tunnel. Like a lot of you can see where it is you want to go. Here was the challenge. I'd start, stop. I was inconsistent. I procrastinated. I wanted more, but I couldn't figure out how to get it. And he would say, just keep on pushing harder. One day he would get there, so I'd push harder. I'd feel like I'm getting there. I would think, finally, this is going to be my breakthrough. I'm going to make it happen. I'd start, stop, start, stop, start, stop, and I never felt like I was getting there. And it wasn't until a couple of years later that I was pushing and pushing and trying and prodding and doing all this stuff that I realized that there were a lot of things in my life that were off. It wasn't just one area. My health, my relationship, I was in one that I should have got out day one, and I stayed for years. It was one of those things where I used to lie and tell myself my apartment was great because I could walk from my bed to my computer, how wonderful this is. And I would tell myself things were okay when they weren't okay. See, okay is okay if okay is okay. But if okay is not okay anymore, it's not okay. So a lot of you, if you think things are okay and they're not okay, you got to question yourself. Is it okay that things are not okay? Or are you willing to do something about it? So I luckily met a guy in a very weird circumstance, a friend, somebody that kind of caught on, and he saw a better version of me. He saw what I was capable of, things that I didn't see in myself, things that I would dream about, he saw in me and grabbed a hold of me and got me really into developing myself. What you guys would call personal development. He got me into the concept of working on myself. He taught me a really unique phrase. He said, why would you want to be a salesman, Mike, when you could be a person of influence? Why would you want to be a business owner when you could be a person that influences people to make their lives better? And I was blown away by the concept. And he taught me things, and he got me reading books, and he taught me about a dozen very simple things. And one of the things he taught me was about consistency. And about 90 days go by, and I take a look at my last 90 days, and I look back and go, wow, I'm not where I want to be, but I've been consistently getting better every single month. And I took those dozen things that he shared with me, and I dummied them down. I go, what have I been doing? And I narrowed the success in life to three very simple things. I call it the new technology of success today, and it's three very simple things that I'm going to challenge you with right now, and then I'm going to teach you everything I said I was going to cover here tonight. And I'm taking my time tonight, and I'm not rushing this because it's your life we're talking about here. This is not a one-time conversation. This is a decision of how you really want to live your life. Do you want just the answers and hope it's going to work out? Or are you looking for the realization of what you're looking for? And that's one of the things the gentleman shared with me is like, Michael, do you want goals or do you want realizations? Realizations means you live in it. Like I live in a dream house now. I have great vehicles right now. I have a phenomenal wife. I have a beautiful family. I have a great business. Everything in my life is going great. I have a better relationship with my parents than I can imagine. I've realized it in my life. It's not a goal anymore. See, back then I wanted a goal. And so I recognized three very simple things, and I'm going to give you guys them right now. The first thing I recognized and I realized was this, that if your life is not where you want it to be and you want things to change, you need to decide that where you are is not where you desire to be. It's one of the hardest things for human beings to do, not making a decision, really looking in the mirror and deciding that where you are is not where you want to be. Now, once you do that, that's great. Congratulations. You decided that where you are is not where you want to be. Step two is you need to find out what actions that you need to take. You need to figure out specifically what do you need to do next, but more importantly, how to get yourself to do them consistently. It doesn't matter that you know you need to use a juicer. It doesn't matter that you know you should have Facebook ads. It doesn't matter that you know it's a good idea to do push-ups every day or say very nice things to your husband or wife or your boyfriend or girlfriend and say hi or show people you care or be nice to your staff, your employees, your teammates. It doesn't matter what you know. It's how do you get yourself to actually do it. That's the difference. And the last thing is, how do you get your perceptions in line so it sticks? Because just changing your actions is cute. Becoming a person who your actions are who you are, that's where the difference comes in. And that's the difference between me and almost everybody else in the personal development industry. I'm not here to get you excited. I don't even care if you do get excited. I care that you become the man, the woman that you desire to be, and it starts happening with you guys tonight. So the first step is you're going to have to decide that where you are is not where you want to be. Doesn't mean you're in a bad place. It just means that where you are is not where you want to be. You make $100,000 a year, you want to make $1 million. You're not where you want to be. You have 20% body fat. You want 7% body fat. You're not where you want to be. You use your juicer once a week. You want to use it 7 days a week. You're not where you want to be. Your relationship's average, dull, boring. Your roommates, your sex life's not there. You got to decide that average is not okay. That's when you get motivated to go more. See, that was my issue. I grew up in a culture, in a way of living that average was okay. And I'm going to tell you, average is fine. if that's the life you want. See, every one of you, your life works perfectly, giving you exactly what you want today, exactly what you have today. But if there's things you want that your actions are not giving you, it's time to make a difference. So how do you get started? How do you, when you know you need to make a decision and you know the actions you need to take, how do you get yourself to do it? I told you earlier I was going to explain to you what stops most people, and I'm going to give it to you right now. I said earlier that most of us are looking to logically change things in our life. Logically, if I just make more calls, I'll be better. Logically, if I just make more, go to more seminars and network better, things are going to change. Logically, if I just meet the right person, then I'm going to feel better about myself. And logically, if I get the right diet, it's all going to work. Trust me, logic is great. Logic says the alcoholic shouldn't go to the bar. Logic says the drug addict shouldn't shoot up. But for some reason, they choose to do it. And the reason why they choose to do it is because emotions supersede logic all the time. It's kind of funny how salespeople, as business owners, marketers, copywriters, you're all taught to write emotionally. Here's why. Emotions drive people. But most of us don't understand our own emotions. So I want you to think about this. What stopped you in the past? Very common sense thing I'm about to share with you, but I'm going to ask you to own it, not know it. What's the difference between knowing it and owning it? It's going to take a while to own it. Own it means it's how you live. Knowing it means it's something you talk about. Owning it means you get it. It's who you are. It's something you're working on. You don't have it perfect, but you're getting it. I want you to think about this, and I could have the hands fly up if we wanted to online. I'm going to avoid that right now, and you guys just think about this right now. I want you to think back to a day that you've had where you just didn't feel like doing what you needed to do. You're either laying there in bed a little too long, or it was mind over mattress. You were excited about something. You couldn't get yourself to do it, and you were thinking that your life isn't where you want it to be. You had the commission breath going. You just didn't feel as good as you wanted to. We've all had those days. The mass media calls them days where you're depressed, days when you're anxious. In business, these are emotions we have. We have days we don't feel good. We have days we don't feel like wanting to do it. And there's days where it doesn't happen quick enough. Like, you don't understand. I started that marketing campaign last week. Why am I not rich yet? These are things you need to ask yourself. And what happens is, if I were to ask all of you, how many of you have had days where you didn't feel that great, every hand in the entire group would go up. Of course, Michael, I have days that I don't feel great. Here's my question, how often? And you'd say, well, if I were to be really honest, a little too often. So how are you going to get yourself to perform at the highest possible level if you can't get yourself to do it all the time? The reason we don't do what it is we want to do, the reason we don't achieve at the level we want to achieve, comes down to how we control and we communicate with what happens to us in our lives. See, I base everything that I teach on a very simple subject called interaction, human interaction to be exact. How we interact with ourselves, how we interact with others, and how we interact when things show up in our lives. Let's talk about how you interact with something very simple. The first thing I want to talk about how you interact with is this. Think about the last time you were having a challenging day. Just go there in your head right now. I know it sounds kind of negative for a positive call, but just think about it for a second because it happens. Some of you it was last week, some of you it was today, some of you it was a month ago, some of you it was a year ago. Most of us it was sometime this last week. And I want you to think back to the last time you were having a challenging day. I bet you were saying something like this to yourself. You're probably saying something like, why is this happening to, you know the answer, me? And you just finished the sentence, and I don't know where you live. You're in Canada, you're in Australia, you're in the US, Midwest, you're in the East Coast where I'm from originally, you live in Arizona where I live now, and you just said the same thing I said. Why is this happening to me? The number one reason why people don't succeed in this world is very simple. You focus on your problems instead of your solutions. Common sense, personal development 101. I knew you knew it already, but you're focused on your problems. See, my mentor said it best when I was a kid. He said, when there's a beer can on the side of the road and you leave it there, you're part of the problem. The second you pick it up, you're part of a solution. I'm going to encourage you to all start becoming part of the solution here today. How do you get what you want? Not why do you not have it, how do you get what you want? The why is not the answer, the how is the answer. How do you get what it is you want in your life? The other part of that equation is some of you don't focus on your problems. You don't focus on your problems at all. You would never consider it. You're what's called a people pleaser. You do everything for everyone else and nothing to yourself. I know for you guys that the most selfish people on earth are the ones that give everything to everyone else and nothing to yourself. So the biggest challenge we have in this world as human beings is we focus on our problems and not our solutions. I'm going to encourage all of you to not focus on yours or other people. It's time to get selfish. And what I mean by selfish is it's time to really start working on you. Because You know, people say to me, but Michael, I'm a parent. I got 4 kids. You don't understand. I got a business, 4 kids. How can I focus on me? Well, let me tell you, the truth is there's nothing more important to your kids than being a great parent. I get that. But there's nothing more important to your kids than being more than just a parent. Showing them that you're capable of doing more, because an average person teaches people how to be below average. An extraordinary person teaches people how to be great. People are always going to do a little less than you do. It's just the way the world works. And I'm going to encourage you to push yourself so you can inspire the world and inspire other people. So the biggest reason why people don't get what they want in this world is they're focused on their problems. The other one is a misrepresentation of what's really going on. Most people miss the mark in life because they miss what's going on. I know a story that I heard years ago, and how I heard the story is kind of a funny night. I woke up in the middle of the night and I turned on the TV, and this show was on in the middle of the night. It was either this or infomercials. And the guy made a very blunt statement. He said, eagles are a lot like human beings. And I'm thinking, okay, I want to watch this. It's going to be interesting. And he said, they have a tiny little bit of liquid in their eye that they don't realize is there. They're born, they have no idea the liquid's there, until one day they get a little bit older, and the liquid starts to have a use for itself. It's kind of like our brains. We don't know they're there when we're kids. We don't realize it's there. But when we get older, we're like, if I could just get my brain and my body and my heart to give me what I want, then I'd be successful. Then we learn to start training the mechanism. So when the baby eagle's born, that tiny little bit of liquid's in their eye. It realizes why it's there about a year later. It realizes it when it starts getting cold out. The baby eagle starts getting cold, and it says, man, I'm cold. I should do something about it. See, when a baby eagle's cold, they go somewhere warm. When a human being's cold, what do? We complain about it. If you think about it, we complain about it. Then eventually we get a jacket and we bitch to our friends and complain and moan. It's just what we do. We complain about it. We don't realize we can do something about it. So when the baby eagle's cold, it starts to fly somewhere warm, and it gets a little more higher in the air, and it starts flying a little to the right, to the left. If it gets a little off course, the liquid starts to harden, and it starts to create a little thing called excruciating pain. And what excruciating pain is, it's the feeling that, it's the feeling that it gets in its eye, and it starts to hurt so freaking bad in that eagle's eye that the eagle says, man, I'm in a lot of pain right now. This hurts. And at that very moment, the eagle says, I have 2 options right now. I can get back on track, and the liquid can loosen up and I can feel better, or I can stay in the pain. See, what most of us do is we stay in the pain. And we stay in the pain because we don't know why it was created. We stay in the pain because it's just what we've always done. You stay in the pain because that's what's comfortable. You stay in the pain because that's what makes sense. And what the baby eagle does, it says, this isn't working. I got to do something different. So I'm going to tell you that if you're not where you want to be in your life right now, congratulations. You found your motivator. It's reminding you to do something different. But the majority of us misrepresent what's going on. I'm sure you've been in relationships and you've said to yourself, this is going, you know the answer, nowhere. And the reason it's going nowhere is because, it is going nowhere. And the reason it's going nowhere is because you're not working on it. You're not trying to make it better. You're wanting it to be better, but you're not doing anything about it. And it does go somewhere called gone. It goes bye-bye. It goes not yours anymore. The dream you had of making it work, it's just gone. So the reason I'm bringing this to your attention is a lot of times we misrepresent things. For instance, you've had days where you've said things are better than they were the day before, and you feel great. You've had days where you feel like you're getting somewhere, and really what you're getting is a little thing called progress. Now let me ask you a question. How amazing would it be if you started making more progress? How great would it be if you were selling a little better than the week before, and your business was doing a little better, and your body was feeling a little better, and you were losing a little bit more weight, and you were energizing yourself a little more? When you started doing the things that you need to do on a regular basis, you feel like you're getting somewhere. So how depressed and sad and anxious are you going to be if you're selfishly focusing on you to make your life and other people's lives better, and you feel like you're getting somewhere? Of course you're going to feel great. And when you feel great, it translates into sales, to business, to a million different things that you can be doing. But we don't notice this because most of us, our perceptions are off. We change our actions and we miss our perceptions. Let me explain perceptions for a second. Let's take a look at your life. And let's take a look at when you look in the mirror and you realize you gained 10 pounds, 15 pounds. What do most people do? I can speak for men and women for the most part. When you gain 10, 15 pounds, you look in the mirror, and what do most of us do? We get upset, we get bothered, and we put on a bigger outfit. A couple times go by, we gain 30, 40 pounds, and it becomes who we are. Started off as an idea, becomes a lifestyle. You look at your bank statement, and you look at it, and it's not where you want it to be. You just log in online. You look at your bank, and you're like, this is not what I want my bank account to be. So you get depressed, you get upset, you get bothered, you get anxious, and you get frustrated. People look at this with their relationship. They get jealous of another human being. They want to be as good as them. But they misrepresent the emotion. See, what if when you gained 5 to 10 pounds, it was reminding you to get your butt to the gym and you were misrepresenting it as you're silly, you're not good, you're bad, you're depressed? What if when you gained 5 pounds, it was reminding you to go to the gym? What a great built-in mechanism. What a great thing when you look at your bank account and you get depressed. Instead of getting depressed, what if it was reminding you to work hard, dummy? What if you were misreading the message because no one has ever had this conversation with you till now? What if when you get jealous of other people, this isn't just rewording it. What if your brain was just wired wrong? Jealousy was really to motivate you to go do more and realize you were capable of more and you could make more happen. What if jealousy meant you could do more too if you're willing to ask this person what you do? See, when I was a valet, I was jealous. And then I realized later in life, I wasn't jealous. That was my motivation strategy, and I was missing it. I spent a year being jealous, 2 years being jealous, until I realized later, oh, that's to motivate me. And I instantaneously changed my perceptions. I'm going to challenge you to start looking at things differently. I'm going to challenge you to understand that it's time to make progress. What if these calls, being on something like this, wasn't to know something else? What if it was the question is, how do I take what he says and apply it in my life? How do I not just know this? How do I do it? What if it came about doing more instead of knowing more? What if everything came down to taking action? Write that down. The secret to your life, and I'll explain this later, is taking action. Learning how to take the actions that you need to take and get your perceptions in line the way you want it to. So what areas of your life do you need to work on? Well, the biggest area that I'd work on is a little thing called motivation. Let's talk about that word for a second, motivation. Why is it that we can graduate like such a huge percentage of people from college, but people can't make more money? Why is it that we can find a way to get to the freaking moon, but we can't figure out how to get people to make 6 figures consistently worldwide? Why is it that such a small population of people succeed? Well, the biggest reason it comes down to the sadness in the industry that I'm in. See, the entire personal development industry, and I wish I could line up all the speakers and coaches and trainers who have been misleading people for years and teaching things which I call drug dealing. And the reason I call that is teaching people to write goals and get excited about the things they want. Why aren't people achieving it if they know to set it? So I started thinking about like what stops people and why they're not getting it, why 97% of the world doesn't get their goals. And the biggest reason people don't get their goals is they haven't figured out what moves them and what motivates them. I'm going to teach you a little scenario right now that I usually teach just to my high-level coaching clients. It's a very, very simple way of looking at getting what you want. See, part of achieving success is learning how to harness the power of your brain, learning how to harness the power of your heart, learning how to harness that fire that burns inside of you and get that thing working the way you really want to get it to work to give you what it is that you want in your life. I want you to think about something that you've wanted before. You haven't figured out how to get. You know what it is. It's Super Bowl Sunday high, you're a young kid, and you want to make it to the big game. Something that one day you're a Pop Warner kid, and all you want to do is be in the Super Bowl. All you want is the love of your life. All you want is a better body. You want to make more money. You got something that you desire in your life. Now, I want you to think about going for what you want. I've realized succeeding has 3 very distinct phases. 3 succinct phases when laid out in front of you. You're going to say, duh, this is obvious, Mike, I get it. But they're more based on biology, neurology, and how we really focus on our interaction with ourselves, way bigger than anything else. So let's talk about what it is. The 3 simple phases. See, if you understand biology, you'll realize that when a baby is born, breast milk or milk, in order to get the baby to drink, it has a little sucrose in it. And the little sucrose is sweet, so the baby numbs the baby's palate. The baby then takes the milk, drinks it, and the babies live a long time, and we have a population. If breast milk tasted like garbage, the baby wouldn't want it, and we'd have no babies, and nobody would be born, and life would be born, but people wouldn't make it, and the population would die. So they leave nothing for chance. So there's a success mechanism built into all of our brains called success of dopamine, norepinephrine, serotonin. And most personal development speakers have tapped into this. They say, if I can just get you excited about what it is you want, you'll be excited enough to buy my stuff, you'll be excited enough to like the seminar while you're here, and you'll go home and you'll still not do anything, but you'll be excited. And you'll go through the excitement phase that most people do. This is why, and I'm going to ask all of you to really think about something you've went for. A new diet, a new business, a new idea, something you've been passionate about. I want you to think about this in your life right now, and I'm going to tell you we're going to probably have another 20 minutes or so here, and I'm going to ask you to pay very close attention because this is about your life here, and I want you to get this. So what happens is you have this excitement phase, and the excitement phase, think about the last time you went for something you wanted. How long did you stay excited? Really think about this. Really answer it. You're going to probably tell me the same thing everybody says, about 7 to 10 days. How long do people stick with their P90X program? About 7 to 10 days. How long do you get excited about learning how to write copy and work on your book? About 7 to 10 days. How long does your juicer stay out on the counter? About 7 to 10 days. The reason why in the first 7 to 10 days of going for anything, the dopamine, which is your excitement in your brain, the norepinephrine, the same thing you get from the Adderall and the Prozacs and the smoking things and all that kind of stuff, and the norepinephrine, the serotonin, they leak like you wouldn't believe and you get excited. Then eventually you wind up in step 2, which is called mundane. I'll explain this to you. You get all excited about going for something, and then eventually it becomes the same. So what do most people do? They look for the next shiny object. There's got to be a better marketing campaign. Well, that workout worked good, but I should find another one, or maybe go back on the diet that didn't work, and you look for something else to get you excited. So why do we do this? Because we're intelligent. We look for things that make us happy, and mundane bores us. And the reason it bores us is because why would we want to do the same thing over and over again when I can go eat a piece of cheesecake and make me feel good in the next 5 minutes? Why would I want to go to the gym every day when I get a result? See, this is why when you go to the gym for 7 days, you always get a pump. You always get a pump. 7 days straight, you get pumped. You feel good. It is awesome. 7 days straight. You know this as much as I do. Then it becomes mundane. The next step is achievement. But we usually don't get to achievement because of mundane. You look for the next thing. Same thing happens with a kid. Let's take, for an example, a kid. When I explain this kid, I want you to think about going to make your business work. The kid gets excited every season. He's got a goal of, one day winning every game in his football league. Like every game for his team, he's going to win every game. Totally excited. One day, he's going to win every game, eventually go to high school football, eventually college, eventually be drafted in the NFL and play the Super Bowl. Didn't dream the Wheaties box from when he's a kid. He's going to do it. He's going to make it happen. Just like you, January 1st, you get excited that you're going to make more money, and this is going to be your year. So at the beginning of the season, he goes to his 2 days practice, gets all excited, going to win every game, and then eventually gets a little hard, and, the excitement wears off, gets mundane, get through the season. We did okay. Next season rolls around, and eventually, if this kid sticks it out, and he gets excited, mundane, kind of gets his goals, he eventually gets into high school, eventually gets to college, and one day at 32 years old, finally in the big game, wins the Super Bowl. It's Sunday night. The kid is excited out of his mind for 32 years of his life, or at least 25. The dude only has had one thing on his mind, winning the big game. It's his excitement. It's the thing he wanted more than anything in the world, and he worked so hard for it, and he is on fire. His dopamine, norepinephrine, serotonin, the drugs in his brain are leaking like you wouldn't believe. Sunday night, 25, 35 years he's wanted this thing. And how long does he stay excited for? Well, the answer you and I both know, and if you think about it right, until about Tuesday, maybe Friday. Here's why. The idea of having what you want, for most of us, excites us enough that we don't actually have to go get what it is we want. The idea of you achieving whatever it is you want in your life excites you even more than actually achieving it. So why don't we go get what we want? Well, the answer is starting and stopping is using drugs. We get excited. Every time you start, the dopamine leaks. You get excited. Then eventually it runs out. And the reason it runs out is you can't have it forever. It's just to get you going, and eventually you get to your goal because everybody thinks that the goal is the end result. But what if it wasn't about achieving something? What if it was about you becoming better? What if your goal stopped being about getting things, becoming more attractive? What if your goal stopped being about being in better shape? What if your goal stopped being about making more money? What if your goal stopped being about being better at your business and doing all that? What if it stopped being about that and it started being about how do I get whatever it is I want whenever I want? How do I become the person that doesn't just get it? How do I become the person that gets whatever I want whenever I want? And I've realized a very simple system. If instead of this being a line of going from excited to mundane, to finally achieving and eventually getting bored and having to find a way to get excited again, what if it wound up becoming a process? What if you were able to look at your life radically different? What if you were able to look at what it is you want? I'll be able to answer some of these when Nick comes back on later. I'll answer some questions for some of you guys, and I'll be able to go over some of the stuff with you, make this very interactive today. But what if we were able to take a look at what it is that you want in your life, and you were able to set goals about achievement instead of goals about getting things? Wouldn't it be amazing to become a person that would never have to worry about money again? Wouldn't it be amazing to be a person that just you had more confidence to run your business? Well, the answer is, how do you set your goals? Most of us, it's these inanimate objects, things that we want, or a different level of money, or just to be happy or something. It's this idea, this thing we write down on a piece of paper that sounds good because we've been writing it for years. But some of us get a little more intelligent than that. And some of us realize that instead of writing our goal, we got to kind of take a look at where we're at right now to figure out what it is we want. See, my question for you, and I did a call about a year ago for part of Nick's group, and I was sharing this concept with them, is to ask this question: what's not where it needs to be in your life currently? What's not where you want it to be? What's not perfect in your life that you'd like to be better? And every time people would answer for me, Mike, I'm just having trouble with my business, or I'm having trouble with this, or I'm having trouble with that, or this or that, or I'm having just these issues with my life, and this isn't where I want it to be, and I just have trouble getting to the gym, and I want to make more money, but I don't have any money, and this and that. And these things would come up when I asked, what's not perfect in your life yet? Yet presupposes that things can get better. But when I ask people, what's not perfect in your life yet, I get a real answer. I get what's not where you want it to be. And when you tell me what's not where you want it to be, instead of just telling you to work hard, instead of telling you just to keep on pushing and one day you'll get there, what if something was missing? What if there was a skill missing in your life that if you obtained this skill, you could have what it is you want? What if the reason you don't go to the gym isn't because the gym's closed or your tennis shoes aren't working, or it's not because you're unmotivated, it's not because you're lazy? What if it is something as simple as you don't know how to make a decision very well because no one sat down and ever discussed with you how to become a decisive person? What if the reason why you don't close as many deals and you don't have as much money as you want is you're not as good a communicator as you need to be? What if you could become a better communicator in the next 3 to 6 months? What if the reason that you really have a relationship that's screwed up right now is you don't know how to operate your emotions the way you want them to, and you have trouble describing what you want, and you don't have the guts to be the person that you desire to be? What if, like, the reason you're unhappy is you have trouble being honest with yourself, and if you were to take a look inside, you'd say, you know what, I know there's something I want to express to the world, to my significant other, to myself, and I just can't get the words out right. See, my answer for you is, what if you became a person that was the skills that are missing in your life? What if your goals were, instead about making more money, what if your goals were radically different? What if your goals became about you becoming that person that you really want to be instead of just wanting things? See, the reason you don't have enough money is you don't have the communication yet. The reason you don't have, the things you want in your life is your commitments aren't as strong as they need to be. You're incongruent. You say one thing and do another. You tell yourself you're going to do it and you don't do it. What if you could be a person that was committed, or a better communicator, or more persuasive? See, this is where goals should be about working on you and becoming better. See, a lot of us, we set plans. We set simple plans for our lives, and the reason our plans get so whacked out, and the reason our plans get so messed up in our lives, is because we set plans without knowing ourselves. Let me give you a different scenario. Imagine it's the Winter Olympics on TV. It isn't too complicated to describe that because it'll happen eventually. And you're watching skiing or snowboarding or something, and you've never done it before in your life. And you're laying there in your bed and you're watching skiing and snowboarding. And it seems like it should be something that's really cool. You'd like to do it, excites you watching it, man. Just watching it seems fun, it seems energizing, and you're someone that's like, man, that's what I want. Let's just say hypothetically speaking. So you're laying there. Do you realize the second you stand up and you do one of the motions, or you look like you're skiing, or even sit in the chair, you're 90% closer to getting started because you've taken a little thing, and write this down, called taking action. The second you take action, what you want starts to become possible. When you think about it, no action's been taken. The book should be called Think and Grow Rich and Now Go Take Some Action, because you're not going to get there until you actually do something. That's what the book should be called. Okay, they should ban the movie The Secret, because The Secret should be simple. It's not the law of attraction, it's the law of action after you want to think positively about it. I'm all for that if it makes you do something. See, the first secret to getting where you want to go is you got to figure out not just the actions, how do you get yourself to take them? Then immediately after you take action, you got to figure out this. How do I get momentum and keep this going? Remember, you get excited for 7 days. 7 days, you get pumped up about what you want. See, I've worked with Nick long enough that excitement of 7 days has become a lifestyle, because Nick went from excitement to momentum. He knew that fire was inside of him. He said, Michael, how do I get a log that makes it burn every day instead of just up, down, dreaming about wanting it? I said, we got to work on creating momentum. How do you create momentum? You learn what drives you. You learn how to take action. You learn what really moves you in your life. And that's what I want to work with you guys on here in the next few minutes. I'm going to open up the lines here in a minute. So Ryan, we're probably going to want to just get a couple chit chats on the line. I'm going to answer some very simple questions before I get into how do you make this stick and how do you get this to last. Once you create momentum, then you create a plan. Most of you create a plan before you get started, and here's why: you don't know what you're going to run into. So let me explain real quick. You don't even know what skiing or snowboarding feels like until you stand up. And once you stand up, you say, wait a second, this is going to require balance. Wait a second, this is going to require hand-eye coordination. Wait, it's going to require leg strength. You don't know that laying down. Once you take action, you do it long enough, now you make a plan. Once you make a plan, the next step is, what resources are missing in my life? Most of you are 5 or 6 simple skills away from having anything you want. See, the thing I work on with people is very simple: skills. I don't work on goals, I work on skills. I develop skills for you. I teach you how to become the person you desire to be, and then getting what you want becomes almost instantaneous. If instantaneous means 2 years, congratulations. If instantaneous means 6 months, congratulations. If instantaneous means 2 years, congratulations. If it means 10 years. But if not, the alternative is dreaming, hoping, and wanting. So to summarize a couple of very simple things before I talk with you guys, and really pay attention when other people share stuff online, and I'm encourage you to really answer this question. Because sometimes it's like a box of jelly donuts. You got a dozen kids at the party, and in this case, hundreds of kids at the party, and there's a dozen donuts, and nobody wants to be rude and take the first one. But the second you speak up and share, what you share inspires other people. See, when Nick changes his life and gets what he wants, it inspires other people. When Ryan inspires his life, it inspires other people. When you do what you need to do, that's when the change starts to take place. So you start getting all that stuff that you want to see happen. This is what I want for you guys. This is the change that I'm looking for you guys. So I'm going to take a little break in the action right now and turn it over to you. And I'm going to encourage you to continue to listen, because we're going to have about 15 more minutes afterwards. I'm going to come back, share a very simple story with you, and tell you where we go from here. So I'm going to get a chance. Nick, if you're out there, I want to work with about 2 or 3 people on this simple question. What's not perfect in your life yet? By what you type in that box of what's not perfect in your life yet, and Ryan, you'll be able to help with that. By what you type in that box, what that's going to start revealing to me is language. What language does is it reveals hidden secrets that most people miss. And once those hidden secrets are revealed, I'm going to be able to tell you a subsequent skill that once you work on this is going to start to create some changes for you. The second we're done with that, I'm going to share you the very quick story. I'll tell you where we go from here, and I'll turn it back over to you, Nick. So if we could very quickly ask this question: what's not perfect in your business or life yet? Nick, are you out there? Ryan, you out there?
Yeah, awesome, man. Well, cool. We already have people that are putting in responses, and again, guys,
Cool.
Just type it into the chat box.
And I'm only answering the one question, Nick. What's not perfect in their life yet? If it's a long sob story, I don't answer those. That person really needs to start working on their confidence. So I'm really asking the question: what's not perfect in your life yet? Nick, you throw it at me. I'll give you a skill, and I'll explain it from there. Nick?
Money. All right, we've got Casey. She's saying, can't make enough money doing what I love.
Okay. Is it that you can't make enough money doing what you love, or you haven't figured it out yet? And for most of us, we haven't figured it out yet. And the reason we're having a challenge doing it is if there's a big difference between, and a lot of people don't like hearing the truth, there's a mega difference between passion and doing what we need to do. Most of us are passionate. Most of us are excited about what we want, but the challenge is we have 1 foot in, not 2, 1 toe in and not 2. If you are all in and committed and saying, it's not that I just haven't done it yet, I haven't figured it out. So my question for you is, are you all in? And you're going to say, yes, I want it, I like it, I'm all in. My next question for you is, how big of a decision maker are you? And the answer you would tell me between 1 and 10, and I'm pretty sure you can answer me right now, is when it comes down to really doing what you need to do on a regular basis and becoming the woman that you desire to be, or the man you desire to be, or the person you desire to be in your life, here's what most people do. When it comes down to decision making, they're about a 6. To succeed in this world, you're going to need to be about a 9. So my question for you is, what if for the next 30 days you decided to become a better decision maker? I'm going to decide to become a better decision maker. I'm going to follow through on more things. I'm going to do what I need to do. Or be honest and realize that the industry that I'm in, and be really honest with yourself and say, there isn't a way to make enough money. And just accept that. But one of the things I realized, and I learned this from one of my mentors long enough ago, eventually you get so good at something, even if it's really awkward and weird, whatever it is you do, somebody will pay you to do it. So if you were a better communicator, people would pay you more money. If you were a better communicator, you'd be rich. But most of us realize the money thing is hard, we think. And I said it at the Firestarter meeting. I said it at the big event. I said something very interesting to the crowd. I said, most of you think making money is hard. Making money, folks, is easy. Communicating is hard. That's the part we're not good at. If you were a better communicator and you could explain what you do better, people would pay you more money. Let's get real. For the next 30 days, what if it wasn't about making more money? What if it was about becoming a better communicator that was more decisive and more confident? Because if you were more decisive, more confident, and a better communicator, you're wondering, how do I work on these things? I'll explain that in a bit. But that should be your goal. Not how do I make more money? How do I become a better communicator so people want to give me more money? Are you catching this, Nick?
Mike, I just wanted to echo that real quick. I think that was one of my biggest shifts, going to your in-person event and taking call to action too, is that I was always setting these ridiculous goals, sell a business by 30 and things, and it was always just like tormenting me. And with that, you taught me exactly what you just shared with everybody, and I shifted from, big crazy goals to, focusing on communication, focusing on confidence every single day, and, pushing myself outside my comfort zone and just doing shit, taking imperfect action. That was a huge turning point for me. So, guys, hope you really, received that and heard that, because that's a big one. It's a slight adjustment, but it makes all the difference to really change.
It's a slightest shift, Nick. I mean, you look at a golfer. A golfer goes and practice. Pay attention, everybody. You go to practice putting. You're not a good putter, and you practice putting. So you're practicing bad putting as a bad putter. But you got to realize why you're a bad putter. There's 3 reasons you're a bad putter. 1, you have bad hand-eye coordination. 2, your breathing is not good, and you're not patient. If you were more patient and had better hand-eye coordination, you breathe better, you'd be a better putter. But what do most people do? They work on their putting when they're bad at putting, and they don't work on their hand-eye coordination. Sounds ridiculous, but it's a complete shift. And this is why when I work with people, I get about 100% success rate in getting people in the right direction, getting towards where they want to go very quickly. And if you're open to hearing this right now, you got to realize, change your goals from being about goals and start making them be about what's missing. What am I not that I need to be? Because if my communication's off, because I'll tell you guys a secret about making more money, and you might want to write this down. To make more money, you will have to get it from somewhere else and someone else. So you're going to have to find a way to communicate it to them. Even a loan from the bank or from your parents, you're going to have to learn how to communicate it in a way that they want to give it to you. If it's in sales, you got to learn how to communicate it. If it's selling your product, service, writing copy online, same thing. Very good. Let's take one more, Nick.
Perfect. All right. Yeah, we've got Jerome. So what's not perfect in my life? And Jerome said, I can't stay focused to execute things.
Okay. Now, that's very corporate, the words, and I use that example because it's like people come to meet with me and they say, oh, I'm having trouble executing my plan. Well, why are you trying to kill your plan? I don't know, the word execute, it's like, I don't know why we're trying to kill something. But you got a focus challenge. And it's not a focus challenge, is that you talk yourself out of things before you get started. What I mean by that is your internal communication of how you communicate with yourself is wishy-washy. See, focused people say, I will, I'm going to, I'm committed, I'm certain, and they speak in a way that gets results. See, most people don't do that. And some of you, as you're listening to this right now, going, this is very basic. This is like personal development 101. Folks, I won't give you 202 until you get down 101. And I do 101 all the time. I realize if things are off in my life, I look first at my communication. Do you have a focus issue, or you have challenge controlling the thoughts in your head? If your brain worked better, meaning that you could focus better on what's going on, things would change quicker for you. So if I were you, Jerome, I'd work on this. How you communicate with yourself. I'd buy books on communication. I'd really work on yourself. Learn how to stay consistent. Sounds to me, my friend, like you have an action issue and you don't have a plan issue. It's time to stop developing the plan. And the reason is to start understanding what you do. I bet you do the cycle. I bet you get excited for 7 days and get bored and find something new and get excited for 7 days and get bored. And you're doing the drug dance. And the drug dance is simple. Get excited until the excitement wears off. Do something else. Get excited. Instead of realizing it's part of the plan for the excitement to wear off a little, gets mundane, then you get excited even more, and then you got to find something new to get excited about and keep on going. But we all get excited when we become better. Remember, when you're making progress, we always feel good. That's what I want for you guys, to always be making progress. Any other one you want me to share, Nick, and then I'm going to wrap this up.
Yeah, let me see here. Let me think. All right, what do we got? What do we got, Ryan? If you got
Stay
one
on the
that
line,
you
guys, because I got something exciting that I really want to float by you guys in a minute. A way of looking at things that I think is going to make a major difference for you.
Oh, here we go. All right. So we've got my man Tony, and he's saying what's not perfect is that I literally have nothing, no degree, a negative bank account, and no active and consistent business.
Okay, very good. So basically, the biggest thing you don't have is not money. Really is you haven't made a decision. You have nothing because you're not doing anything. and meaning that you need to learn how to make a decision. And a decision is taking a stance. And we spent a long time, what do you think, 8-10 hours on that word, Nick? Stance? And what a stance is really taking a position. So your position is I have nothing. Your position isn't I'm working on something. Your position is I have nothing. See, you are your position in life. Your position, if you're like, well, you know, I'm 40 years old and my relationship's average, I guess I'll settle for this. Your position is an average relationship. Your position is you're average. Your position for a lot of us is this is just who I am. And it's no different than when I was a kid and I put myself in the box of I'm not good at doing pull-ups. I'm not good at doing sit-ups. I'm not successful. So you put yourself in a box. I'm going to recommend something for you right now. Instead of walking and running yourself into the walls and doing the drunken stupor, okay, and this will float into my little story here in a second. Instead of, you know, going through the drunken stupor dance that we all do in life and we go through the same thing over and over again, if you were in a box and over the outside of the box, which is way hard to reach to, but you eventually could get yourself to the top, and there's some broken pieces of wood and some different things in the box, my question for you is, should we wish we're outside the box, or should we learn how to get out of the box? So if we're going to learn to get outside of the box, I'm going to tell you the same thing that I tell the people that come to work for me. I'll give you the hammer. I'll give you the nails. I'll even teach you how to develop what a ladder looks like. I'll even show you how to do it. But you got to decide you're going to climb. What if the secret was that you need to learn how to develop a ladder, and you need to realize that it's time for you to climb? For a lot of us, to get where we want to go is we're going to have to get on a ladder. See, personal development and working on yourself is a lot like a ladder. And what the ladder is that if it breaks, you can always get a new ladder. You can always get to another level. The farther you step up, the better vantage point you have. This is what I want for you guys to see, that on top of the ladder, you can look over the wall and you can get where you want to go, the box that you created for yourself that you can get out of. See, I didn't realize I created the box and I made myself average. I still have that from time to time today. I had no idea that things still creep up from when I was a kid. About 3 years ago, before we built the house we live in, we moved into a rental house for about a year, and I sold myself on things. I lied to myself. I said to myself, this is okay. I remember we shrunk house sizes about 3,500 square feet smaller. Okay, still a decent-sized house, but we shrunk because we were going to build something else, and we were working on something. So what happened was, we lived in this house, and I was telling myself, oh, it's okay. Isn't this great? It's easy to get to the kitchen from the bedroom. Actually, it was smaller. Isn't this great that there's less stuff to clean up? Actually, there was less stuff to clean up, but guess what? Everything was cluttered. Isn't it great that I can get to the laundry room easier from the kitchen? It was right on top of each other. So I was lying to myself and saying things were okay, even when they weren't. See, the real thing is, if we stop lying to ourselves and we realize that we need to make these changes and we need to do things different, we need to start looking in the mirror at what it is we want, that's when change starts to take place for us. I'm going to tell you a quick little story here real quick, then I'll tell you where we go from here. And for those of you that want to plan, those of you that really want some help getting where you want to go, I'll give you an idea how to do that. So I'm going to use up all the time that we committed to here today, and I'm going to go through this very quickly, but I'm going to encourage you to pay very close attention. The story is a lot about someone like you. It was about a person that really didn't see their life the way it was. They saw they wanted more, but they couldn't figure out how to get it exactly. And the story was about a guy that had everything going his way. And one day some tragedy hit. Some of us it's financial, some of us it's mental, emotional, some of it's physical, some of us just get stuck. Unfortunately, this guy had a very bad tragedy. His wife died. Loved his wife, she died. She got cancer. He got so frustrated with what was going on, he moved. He moved to Alaska in the middle of nowhere, and he said, I'm going to hide from everything. I'm just going to hide. Like a lot of you hide on the call. Like you listen to this, but you hide from actually doing something about it. And he listens to, his friend, and he goes off to Alaska in the middle of nowhere, and he says, I'm going to get away from this. The only person in town he knew, like somewhere nearby, like 20 miles away, is his brother-in-law from his wife who passed away. He's got his 2 kids, and he lives out in the middle of nowhere. He's got a simple life. Because things didn't work out the way he wanted to do, I'm going to make this simple, and I'm not going to go for what it is I want. Well, one day it starts to snow, and again, he's in the middle of nowhere. Snowmobile is the only way you get somewhere, and it didn't snow a little. It snowed bad, feet of snow, and what a day for the heater to go out. And the heater blows out in the house, and he walks by, and he calls the 1-800 number, can't get it to work, kicks the thing, can't get it to work, calls over a local guy to fix it, can't do it. The brother-in-law comes over, can't do it, and the guy is like, really getting frustrated. He's like, what a day for the heater to go out. It's freezing. He goes out to get firewood. It's all frozen to the ground. His kids are bundled up. Everybody's cold in the house. Goes for the last piece of firewood. He gets so frustrated with what's going on. He takes the food out of the fridge just to prove a point and say, oh, it's colder in the house than it is in the fridge. Might as well unplug it and save energy. And he's in the wrong state of mind. He's not really willing to solve anything. He wants things to be better, but he's not really working on the solution. And he gets so frustrated, puts the kids to bed, they're freezing cold, wraps them together in a blanket like a taco, and he sits down at the kitchen table on the chair, and he goes, ow! And he looks down below him because he's got a little 4-year-old girl, and he throws this phone book that was underneath that she was sitting on so she could see up at the table, throws it on the ground, goes, stupid phone book. But right in front of him was the answer. And in the back of the phone book, it said, handyman, magic plumber, I can fix anything, you name it. I can fix heating, cooling, refrigeration, you name it, I can fix it. And the guy's like, no way. He's like, I know I saw that secret thing, the law of attraction, but no way this is going to work. And he doubts it for like an hour. Then finally he gets so cold and so frustrated where he's not where he wants to be, he realizes his motivation kicks in. Like I said earlier to you guys, if you're not where you want to be in your life, you got to take a look at that and you got to realize that's telling you to do something different. So he calls the number and the guy says, magic plumber, can I help you? And the guy says, yes, my heater's broken. The guy says, great, the magic plumber. He goes, would you like me to fix it? The guy goes, do you think you can? And he goes, would you like me to fix it? And he goes, do you really think you can? He goes, would you like me to help you? And the guy says, well, do you think you can? Because I've had my brother-in-law come by, and he knows this and that. He's doubting this. And he's like, this is like people with me. He's like, but Michael, I've heard this seminar, and I've heard this speaker, and I know this, and I've heard this book. Why do you think you can help me? And the guy goes, I can help you if you let me. I can get you whatever it is you want if you let me help you. I can show you how to do it because that's what I do. Will you let me help you? And the guy goes, fine. The guy shows up at the house 10 minutes later. The guy goes, how'd you get here so quickly? He goes, that's what I do. I'm the magic plumber. He goes, would you like me to fix your heater? And the guy goes, do you think you can? He goes, oh, this again. He goes, yes, I can help you if you let me. Show me where it's at. He walks him downstairs to the basement. The guy's in the basement, and he looks at the heater. He goes, can I fix it? The guy goes, go ahead, arms crossed, pissed off. How am I going to help you? No way you're going to know anything. And he looks at the heater, and he goes over to his tool chest, and he grabs out a screwdriver, and he turns the screw about 1/4 of an inch, and the heater turns on. The guy goes, that's amazing. How'd you do that? How did you get the heater to turn on? He goes, I turned that screw. He goes, but how'd you do it? He goes, well, my hand. He goes, but he wanted like an answer. How did you do it? He said, how did you know? He goes, this is what I do. I fix things that aren't where they want them to be. That's what I do. He goes, that's amazing. And the guy's smiling now, but not willing to realize the guy knew something he didn't know. He goes, give me a bill, I'll pay you. The guy says, fine, I'll give you my bill. Guy's been there 10 minutes, hands him a bill. The guy almost fainted. He looks at the bill. He goes, are you kidding me? $500? You've been here 10 minutes. You charge more than a lawyer and a doctor combined. He goes, what do you mean? Give me an itemized receipt. So guy hands him an itemized receipt. And the guy starts cracking up. He pays the bill, and here's what the itemized receipt said. Turning screw, $5. Knowing which screw to turn, $495. See, I've realized that most of us, we want to know how it's done. We want to know how it works. We want to know why it works. But the thing we never ask is, what do I have to do? If you could just show me what I have to do, then I'm willing to do it. Knowing why or how really doesn't do anything. See, I've realized for years, I never ask anybody to do the $495 job. I don't ask them to know why or how it works. I ask them to take the action. Because I realized if you're willing to take the action, the momentum will follow. Then we'll create a plan and get you where you want to go. See, the biggest issue with the personal development industry, with calls like this, with trainings and different things out there is you get excited. I'm sure you've been to events before when you've got excited and you've got fired up and you said, I want to make change. And this is why Nick was even hesitant when he first, enrolled in the event that I did, because he thought it was going to be like everything else. See, the biggest flaw in the personal development industry is most people can get people excited, but most people can't get people to take action. See, the biggest flaw in the personal development industry is nobody's holding people accountable. Nobody's making people do what it is they need to do. Nobody's saying that imagine a month from now, you're getting more done in a day than you used to get done in a month. Nobody's saying that imagine 90 days from now, you're really doing what it is you wanted to be doing. Nobody's saying, I'm going to get you to do it. See, in my world, I realized about 12 years ago a big flaw in this whole industry. Everybody's talking about how and getting you excited. Nobody's getting people to take action. And I created something, and if those of you ever get an opportunity to do this in your life, find a huge need and fulfill it with a phenomenal product and fill it with a phenomenal thing, I encourage you to do so. And the biggest need out there I found is that most people wanted things, but they couldn't figure out how to get it. And I created something 11 years ago with a very big guarantee. It'll be 11 years this April, a little thing called Call to Action. A call to action is 5 days of you working directly with me. Now, let me ask all of you this question. If I'm able to help Nick and the who's who of the internet marketing world, and they fly in from all over the world to come help me work with them, they help me look good because I make their lives better, and they feel better about themselves. I get them over their challenges and things like that. If I'm helping them, the who's who of the world, and I could list off names you all know, and I'm able to help them get where they want to go. And I got people that are going for office for their party of choice in politics. And I got some of the biggest people, I got people in sports and different things coming to me to get change. And it's working for them as well as the new guy getting started. My question for you is, does this excite you, this guarantee? I can show you how to get more done in 5 days than you have in 5 months. If you've been avoiding things in your life, we're going to get to it. The way the program works is very simple. It's 5 days over the phone working live with me. It's not a webinar. It's live over the phone, small group setting, and you work directly with me for 5 days straight, kicking your butt, holding your hand on 5 very succinct topics. Some of you say, well, will it fit my schedule? The answer is yes. You have a year to take the course, and we have courses that sell out every single month. I have one coming up here in a couple of weeks. I have actually in a week. I have one coming up in 3 weeks. I have one coming up in 5 weeks. I run it a few times every 4 or 5 weeks, and the best part is I have a morning course and a night. It doesn't matter where you live. I have people in Australia get on the phone. I have people in New Zealand. I have people in New York, New Jersey. If you're really willing to change, it's 5 days of me working with you, getting where you want to go. Now, I want to tell you, this is where it all starts. I only work with 2 types of people. People that have something they want and cannot figure out how to get it, and people that have something they want and they feel stuck. So if you're stuck or can't figure out how to get to that next step and you're looking to have that not be there anymore, I'm not just going to share ideas with you. I'm going to guarantee that we do it. So the course is in 5 days, starts on a Sunday, ends on a Thursday. We focus on 5 very important topics. 1, taking action and getting things done. I guarantee if I were to look at your life, there's a dozen things that you know you should be doing. We'll get a half dozen of those done the first night. Second day, we're going to teach you what motivates you and other people. Wouldn't it be nice to learn how to motivate people to buy from you? Motivate your kids to do their homework? Wouldn't it be nice to learn how to motivate you to take the actions you need to take in your life? All of this is explained on a website that I'm going to give you guys here in a second, okay? But I want you to really ask yourself before you go to this website, I really want you to ask yourself the simple question. Do I want things to be different in my life, or am I just talking about it? Am I like the guy with that the boiler isn't working, the heater's not working in the house? Am I going to settle for it, or do I want things to change? The website is Life on Fire, because that's really what it is. lifeonfire.com/Michael. And I'm pretty sure they can get this up on the screen here right now. lifeonfire.com/Michael. And when you go to that site, it breaks down a little bit about the days. The third day is about getting out of your comfort zone. All of us need to get out of our comfort zone. The last 2 days of the course are really integration. We're going to set plans to get them. But at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter the curriculum. What matters is this. Are you where you want to be in your life, and would you like things to change? We've set this up in a genius manner. And the reason I say it's genius is it's customized for you. What I'm going to give you guys is a very simple little gift. My personal coaching one-on-one, I'm a very, very not cheap date. I'm 10 grand for 6 hours of my time. This course is 20 hours of working with me, and on my website, it's normally $600, $599. For those of you here tonight, for those of you that are friends of Nick's, for somehow you got on this call, you're listening to this right now, I'm going to offer you guys a very huge incentive. 5 days of working with me live in a small group setting, and about 3 or 4 huge bonuses. But the first bonus I'm going to give you is the course isn't going to be $599, and I don't have to discount this. I'm doing this as a personal favor to Nick, and I'm doing this as one of those things that I know I want to share and give back, and I'm taking off $200. $200 off working with me is huge, but more importantly, it's $200 you can keep and put into your marketing or whatever else you want to do. $399 to get your life to the next level. $399 to be more confident. You can go to that website right now, lifeonfire.com/Michael. But here's where the course is very different. It's not just coaching. It's not coaching at all. It's completely enhancing the way you do your life and getting you to do it. Because here's the deal. You get on day 1, and we say, hi, you tell me what you're going to do, we're going to do it. In the next 5 days, we got people that make sure you get it done. So you're not talking about it. We're creating momentum and redesigning the plan for your life and figuring out exactly what you need to work on to get where you want to go. What I'm going to throw in for you guys today as a huge gift is I'm going to throw in what's called an accountability partner. I know people like Nicole, I saw you listening on the line here earlier. Your accountability partner is someone you've been close to for over a year when you first started taking this class. And your accountability partner is going to work with you. They're going to decipher exactly what you want to get out of this course. They're going to relay it to me, and they're going to work with you through the entire week. It's a $300 value. Yours is a gift. I'm giving you a coach to work with, and I'm your coach. I'm giving you a secondary person to work with to help you get where you want to go. On top of that, I'm going to throw in, because I know a lot of you are in business, I'm going to throw in my Persuasion 1-hour audio, which is really 2. You'll get that tonight in the mail. I'm also going to throw in 2 huge things, and one I didn't even tell you, Nick, that I'm going to do, but I'm going to throw it in for those of you that can make a decision here tonight. And I'm going to throw in for you guys a very cool thing. And binaural beats is one of those really powerful things to get to the unconscious mind. I had a DJ in California put together a really cool audio for me called, it's a confidence audio, and it's really called Rapid Daily Confidence. It's a 7-minute night one that calms you down. You'll get it tonight, and one you'll get tomorrow. One calms you down, puts you to bed confident, and the other one wakes you up fired up in the morning. You put it on for 7 minutes, a 21-day program to enhance your level of confidence. That's going to be in your inbox here tonight at the latest tomorrow morning. So it's $200 off, an accountability partner to work with, an audio on influence and persuasion that those of you can use in business. You can monetize. That alone is going to get you to make more money. I'm also going to throw in a confidence audio set that's a $60 value. But the last thing I'm going to do, and I don't have to do any of these things, but I don't need your money by any means, any stretch of the imagination. I need your success story. I get the thrill in life by the introduction I got here on the call because Nick's doing more. He feels more. He's creating more. He's making more happen in his life. So if you want things to change for you, I encourage you to go to the website. Go there right now. It's right there on the screen. Open up another browser, www.lifeonfire.com/Michael. And the second gift I'm going to give you guys, on top of the other 3 that I gave you, is for the first 15 people to enroll, and there's only 15. It'll be first come, first served basis. The invoices will tell me 15 people. I'm going to send you guys my confidence audio set. It's different than what I said earlier. It's an audio that when you listen to it, you could fire yourself up for a tough meeting. Something when you're having a bad day, you could pop it on. It's a technique that Nick talked about on that video where he talked about his life on fire. And it's a very simple technique that you can do to put yourself in a phenomenal state anytime you want. You listen to it once for an hour, and then a quick 5 minutes, boom, gives you a pump. And on top of that, the second audio called Core Confidence, how to develop confidence in yourself and other people overnight, almost immediately. It's a $90 audio. I'm going to physically mail it, so make sure to put down the right mailing address to send it to. So when you go to the website, I'm giving you a ton of stuff. I don't want to hear that you're not where you want to be in your life and you don't do something about it. The biggest excuse that I hear from people is time. So I give you a year to take the class. You can take it morning or night. You can either take it in the morning time or night, whatever your convenient schedule is. You got a month to take it. We'll call you in the next few days. Someone from my office will call you on Thursday and figure out how to book you into the next possible time. You can take it 6 months from now. But if you don't get in now, you're not going to probably be taking the course for another 6-8 months. If you want things to be different, you got to do things different if you want things to change. So I'm going to encourage you to go to that website now. Allow yourself to enroll. For the first 15 people, I'm going to send you out that audio. But the real question is, do you want things to be different? I've realized the biggest challenge out there with people is they lack confidence. When people lack confidence, they don't let people help them. So I make it easy for you. If it's a financial concern, you could break it in 2 payments. I take PayPal, credit card, all that. It's not the money. It's the commitment. The second you sign up, this is what it says about you. I'm not willing to settle anymore. I want more. And if any of you can hear, I could have easily got out this call an hour ago. I could have been one of those average guys that just kind of does an average call and average training. But I'm obsessed with a very simple concept, getting people to where it is they want to go in their life. And if you have something you want and you haven't figured it out by now, allow me to help you make that a reality. Again, go to the website, lifeonfire.com/Michael. If it's freaking you out, sign up. If you're thinking about it, sign up. If it scares you, sign up. If you don't like me, but you think I can help you, sign up. Do what you need to do. The success stories are going to be radically different in your life and your business 6-8 months from now for those of you that choose and those of you who choose not to. This is how Ryan and Nick met. They're building a huge business together. Nick's doing what he's doing today because of this course. And I'm going to encourage each and every one of you to make your decision for yourself. First 15 people will get the confidence audios. I know I absolutely went over my time. I can tell I did. Nick, is there anything else you want me to share? I know I went long. I'm very passionate about getting these guys rocking on this because I know a call to action is done for tens of thousands of people. Check my Facebook wall, michaelbernoff.com. Go to my Facebook wall, and you'll see it's littered with people saying, thank you, call to action changed my life. Thank you for this. Thank you for that. Thank you for this. Thank you for that. If you're serious, $200 off is available today. All the other bonuses are available today, and for the first 15 of you, get that confidence audios. You're going to buy them again later anyways. You might as well get them while I'm feeling generous, paying the shipping and sending them out to you. So, Nick, the floor is yours. Anything else you want me to share, man? You know me, man. When it comes down to this, I am beyond passionate and serious about really getting people results. So if you're not where you want to be in your life, guys, just raise your hand, ask. I'll get you there. If it's financial, give us a call, 866-241-5111. Do the split payment plan. Sign up. Be that person that goes and gets it and get where you want to go. So anything else you want me to share, Nick? I know I went long, and forgive me for that.
No, that's awesome, man. And guys, I just want to just really, let you guys know that, this is a really special thing that he put together, with the $200 off. And this is a personal favor. I mean, he's a guy that's made a huge, huge impact in my life and business. And I will forever be grateful for him. And I take this course. I've taken it multiple times. I'll be taking it again. Probably for me, it's going to be like towards the end of February. I'll catch that class in about 3 weeks from now, like Michael said. And so why do I take this thing over and over? It's because this is something that it's a muscle. Like the more I can learn how to focus and the more I can learn how to literally just tinker with my own brain so that I'm getting more done in less time. That's part of what our whole vision is with Life on Fire. If you're not where you want to be, then this is something that's going to help you get there. And so, as many of you guys know, I mean, we very, very rarely promote anyone else's stuff. And Michael's a personal friend. He's a mentor, and he is, like I said in the beginning, I mean, he's someone that has really completely helped me radically change my life. And the great thing is that I have been behind the scenes referring people to him. I mean, I've had people that have had catastrophic experiences. One of my best friends had a brother that died, and within the first month, I literally got this young kid a first-class flight, came with me to an event. He's done this course, and it radically changed him and got him from just from grieving about the death of his brother, his best friend, to realizing that he could use this to empower him and to move on and to do big things with his life. So I've watched Michael take someone that has been just crushed and just been collapsed by things like been raped by their uncle for years and years, and the family believed the uncle and not this poor woman, and she wanted the help, and she was out, and Michael literally took that woman, and in 5 minutes, and this sounds crazy, but reframed how she thinks about that past experience and realized that it wasn't about her. She did nothing wrong. People that hurt people, right? And he reframed the whole thing, and literally for the rest of the event, he could say her uncle's name, and she smiled. And this woman, was now went from like being shoulders hunched over and just defeated and deflated to all of a sudden she was like the life of the party, and she was talking and like grabbing any opportunity to speak in front of people. And it just wild. I've seen so many transformations, and so it just obviously you guys can tell I'm super passionate about what he does, and with our fire starters, this is such a big deal. Just to put it in perspective, I know we've got a lot of our fire starter coaching clients on, and of course a lot of people that aren't part of our coaching program, but this is such a big deal that we negotiated with Michael and put together a huge package and a huge deal with him where all of our fire starter coaching clients, whether they're elites or just the fire starter level, we've actually negotiated and we're paying for this course for our fire starters. That's how impactful it has been in my life, and that's how much I want to share this gift with other people. So that's freaking crazy. If you really just think about that, we're taking all of our clients and we're literally paying for this course for our fire starters. So if you're not a fire starter, this is an opportunity to get on this course today. And at least the best we could do here for today is Michael came in as a friend and is offering it at $200 off. And so this is really just another way to get this in front of more people, because I don't want to just help our coaching clients. I want to literally share him and share this with as many people as I can. So I hope that kind of puts it in perspective as to like the level of importance about this. So I mean, it's pretty crazy. So again, like Michael said, take the opportunity to save the $200, jump on board, and we're going to have lots and lots of people from our community. I've been doing coaching calls every single day since our live event, and many of our clients keep coming back and saying, man, we've got such a great community. We were so fired up with what happened with Michael in person, and we're actually going as a group to to one of his live events coming up in April. So the cool thing is that this is something we're doing together. And so that's another opportunity just to network, and we're creating a lot of synergy, amongst each other, as we're connecting and doing this. And the other thing is that it's like, as a business coach for me, I can hop on the phone, and many of you guys have heard me. It's like in 30 minutes, like my gift is I can break down what's going on. I can help you figure out your story. I can help you figure out your stance and help you create a strategy, oftentimes in like 30 minutes. However, if you don't do the freaking strategy, there's nothing I can do about it, right? I've got my hands tied. So that's why I'm just, Michael's able to get people to do the things that they've been wanting to do, get them unstuck and help you get into action and get more done. And it's just so crazy. People keep coming up to me, and whether it's at live events or on calls or emails and texts, Facebook messages, and saying things like, dude, how on earth are you guys growing so fast? You've got one full-time team member and a part-time, assistant. Like, how is this happening? And it's like, dude, I am just so focused on being the best version of myself. I'm working on the right things. I'm highly focused and highly efficient, and that's partly because I'm taking the time to train myself. I was at a personal development event last week, and I'm not only plugging into Michael's, call to action is any opportunity and every opportunity that I can. I go to all of his events. The thing that's crazy, and Michael, I don't know if you know this, but I almost feel like a dork, or I do feel like a dork even saying it, but in the morning, I have the audio version of the call to action that, I bought everything this guy has. And so part of my morning routine, and some of you guys may have seen this in the video I put out, I listen to what he says, because you guys may or may not have picked up on it. Most people don't realize this. A lot of what he's saying, it's not only educating you to actually get into action. He's a full-blown master NLP practitioner, and a lot of times he's embedding commands, and he's actually hypnotizing us to some degree, and he's can say things to us, and he's literally speaking to our subconscious. And so in the morning, I will be jogging, I'll be walking, I'll be doing my thing, and I've just got this going in the background, just letting it soak in. And sometimes I'm paying attention to the words he's saying. Sometimes I'm literally just letting it soak into my brain. And it sounds a little weird. I am a little weird, but it's working like crazy, and it's been one of the things that has really helped me to get my life to become a life on fire. So if you're a fire starter, congrats. You guys take action. We are hooking you up. We are paying for this for you. And if you're not a fire starter, as Michael said, hop on this today and join us. And join us for this training, and also we'll be at his live events too. So Michael, really appreciate it, and thank you for the generous offer to take $200 off, man. Definitely appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm excited. I heard what you said, and I just hope everybody hears it. And if it's not me, and I'm not your cup of tea, and you just you don't really recognize Nick's sincerity with everything, and you don't realize how many people we've helped over the years, find somebody to help you get where you want to go. If you want to do it quickly, I work very fast. I work very quickly, and it's a lot of fun. And if you look at the major atrocities that have helped people get over in a matter of 10, 15 minutes, imagine what we can do with your life, where it's just a couple of shifts and different things you need to do. So figure it out. Do what you want. Give yourself the 5-minute window right now to say, what do I want for my life? Take a look at the page. Look at the testimonials. Go to lifeonfire.com/Michael and ask yourself this question. How would you like it to be 30 days from now, and you're looking back at where you're at today? And you're realizing not only are you doing more in your life and you're feeling better about things that you're doing, you're realizing that while you took the course and it got you more motivated and more excited, and you were doing more, and not just motivated, but it got your life working the way you wanted to do, and you were taking some of the actions you really want to take, and you had momentum. Not only did you see that 30 days from now, but a year from now when you're looking back, you're going to realize that 30-day part was just the start. Just the start of really putting together the new version of you, because the new year means it's time to really take a new stance. And really figuring out, are you the person that hasn't figured it out? Are you the person that's not there yet? Or are you the person doing it? I work with the person that wants to do it and says, I'm not where I want to be. I'd like things to change. I'm willing to let you show me how. I don't have all the answers in this world. I'm not great at bowling. I'm not great at golf. There's things I'm not so good at. But the one thing I've mastered is this: getting results for people like you that say they want more in their lives. So if you want it, Let's do it together. If it's a financial issue, break it into payments. Wait another week to take the course. Fine, do what you need to do. But it's first come, first serve. But when you sign up is how soon that we're going to get you on the next possible course. I don't need your money. I cannot wait to have your success story. You can give us a call at 866-241-5111 as well. But this offer is good for today. And the reason I say it's good for today is because if you're hearing this right now, my recommendation is learn how to make a decision. You got something in front of you that can help you. Take advantage of it. So, Nick, unless you want me to share anything else, two hours of talking with people is what I do all day long. I love it, and I could talk to you for days about this. Anything else you want me to share at all?
I think that's awesome, man. I just want to also I think just for me, just the last thing on it is just, this is something that I'll be joining you guys with and fired up to go through it again, and just really appreciate it, man. This is a hell of an offer for our community, and just really, really glad that you're hooking us up, man.
You got it, brother. Anything I can do to help you, let me know. And guys, I'm just so excited because the ones we look back at and the ones we look forward at, those of you who decide to do this, you're going to realize that this is that big decision that I talked about earlier. You're going to realize that it's the silliest, sometimes the simplest things that you didn't realize later, and it looked silly or it looked like exciting in the moment. You realize they're the ones that changed your life the most. So give yourself the gift, make the decision, do this for you. It's time to be the person you desire to be. So if okay is not okay enough, let's get where you want to go. So, Nick, appreciate it. I'm going to go back and hang with my family. And afterwards, work real hard on figuring out how to get you guys more of what you want. So the website's on the screen, lifeonfire.com/Michael. You want to go browse our Facebook page, go look online, see all the stuff we're doing. Take advantage of this. Learn what you want. I look forward to connecting with you guys. And someone from our office will be in touch with you within 3 days, getting you scheduled for the next possible call to action to get you guys involved in. Have a great day, everyone.
But bam, awesome, brother. Thanks, man. You guys have an awesome rest of your night, and we'll catch up with you guys soon. Cheers.